I'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
So, have a roll call. Jan is not here yet, but Jan will be here shortly, so she'll be late tonight. She's at a county board meeting, and it will be it's probably on her way over here now. So, but we do have a quorum with 4 out of the 5 board members here. So we can proceed. So the verification of posting. Jackie has sent out the posting that has been posted.
Yes, I posted it at the post office, the grocery store, and on our front door, and I took pictures and sent them to you as well.
Jackie, I'm told the Zoom link is not working.
Okay, let me see if I can get that done. Yeah, 'cause you were. Tell them to click on the marketing, or the black bar that says welcome meeting. Is that where they're clicking?
I'm not sure. Do you think that works better?
Yeah,
than
that's the
link?
one that, I updated just a few minutes
Oh,
ago.
it was updated?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
And is that audio only?
Right now it's audio only, yes.
Okay. So, we'd like to approve the agenda that we have tonight.
I'd so move.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so we'll start with guest comments. We're going to be doing guest comments during this time approximately, basically at the beginning of the meeting. And we'll be going for 2 minutes, and we'll start with 15 minutes maximum. And if there's some sort of change after that, we can decide as a board whether we'd like to expand that. So, who would like to start?
I just want to thank you, and I'm Beth Good from Gordon, Wisconsin, and I want to thank you all for your commitment to this library and its community, for addressing compliance issues in a timely manner, as well as moving forward in a positive, firm approach. You can see by the petition that was posted how many people supported the library and its staff. Over 1,850 people responded for a town of approximately 700 people. We appreciate you letting us speak, hearing us out, and responding to our concerns. Thank you for not trying to control us, but instead inviting us along on this exciting journey. We and our diverse opinions are here for you. I'm also hopeful that the 3-hour meeting will become shorter and clearer with your leadership, and that anyone who has continuing questions about governance saves time by doing their own research about attending them before attending the meetings, and has documentation to show. The library is a wonderful place for that endeavor. Thank you very much for your service.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes.
Hi, Kathleen Skorcheski. I would like to echo that and thank you all for your service and your commitment to this board, and to working to serve all of the members of our community that this library serves. I would encourage you that as you're looking at replacing and adding new board members to this board, that we represent the community as a whole, and it's been too long since we've had a board member who is actively parenting minor children, and that the children, it sounds like, it's a very important issue to this community, that we're looking after what books and things should be in the library. So regardless of who that person is on the board, but that there's someone who's having that daily contact as a parent or guardian of minor children, I think would be really important for this board to consider.
Thank you. Anyone else tonight?
I'll say something. I just want to thank you three for.
You have your name.
Oh, Jody Forsyth. Just want to thank you three for the vision that you guys have got going through, and also with Jan. I was on the library board for many years, and it was a well-run machine. And, I'm hopeful that it's gonna get back there, and that we're gonna have the positive community that we had before, and I think we're on the right road with you three members on it. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes,
Rochelle Swanson, I'd just like to make a request again that you could reconsider having the Zoom camera on, just for people attending. It just really adds a lot to be able to follow the conversation and, to get context, so, thank you.
thank you. Anyone else? Anybody online?
There are, 4 people online.
Okay, anybody?
No one has
Anything?
said they wanna say anything at the moment, so.
Okay. Okay, great, thank you. I'd like to just make a comment about some basically guidelines for our board meetings that we have. And I'd like to just point out a couple of things. These are all based on Robert's rules. So these are really, I guess for me, my expectations. And I want to do it now. And this will be, instead of part of my report. So first of all, I really appreciate.
Excuse me,
everybody-
didn't
No.
we approve the agenda the way it was though?
Then I'll do it part of my president's report. I was
Yeah, I'm
just
just
moving
saying,
that
you
up
know,
a bit.
wanna go by the rules.
Right. Correspondence from board members. So we have correspondence, I believe we have 2 pieces of correspondence that the board has received.
I just have the one.
Correct. We have, one, and then one other one that we'll deal with later. Okay, one. We have one, you all have received that correspondence? Okay. Let's,
And I have one also.
for all of us.
Yes.
We're not reading correspondence. We're not reading everybody's correspondence.
Well,
We didn't read the other ones. So let's.
I would like
let's-
this
no,
on the,
Let's not do that.
excuse
We are-
me, hang on.
No, excuse me.
I'd like to finish
that
my
is not-
sentence.
Is this part of an agenda item?
Oh, yeah, under correspondence.
But we're not reading everyone's correspondence. We're
That's
taking
fine,
audience
then I would
comments.
like to make sure that these 2 pieces of correspondence are included with the minutes.
Is that a motion?
Yeah,
Okay,
Needs a second.
is there a second?
you see, that's the problem with democracy.
I'm sorry, excuse me.
Turns into
You
a
are
mob.
out of order. That's part of my expectations of how we communicate on this board. So if you have a correspondence, then you can send it in as correspondence and it will be in this record. But what I'm seeing is that correspondence, we already have that correspondence, correct? The board, does the
But it's
board
not
have?
on the record anywhere.
Well, you didn't send it in as correspondence.
You
but- so-
you made it, I was just between you and me.
Well-
Now it's the whole board, so it should
No
be,
problem, we will add that to our correspondence, so now we have 2 pieces of correspondence, but we are not reading those in public. If there's some other agenda item in a future meeting or something that you would like to bring it up as, but we will not be reading correspondence at this meeting. So, thank you.
There was a motion on the floor.
There is a motion on the floor, there's not a second. Any second?
like I
Motion
said,
does not pass.
mobocracy.
Okay, approval of the minutes. Would you like to say a couple of things? We've got some minutes to clean up from different months, and so we're going to try to accomplish that tonight.
Just to refresh everyone's memory, because it was a little confusing for me with the change of membership on the board and the change in officers, including the change in the secretary. If you'll recall, at the June meeting, we referred the July 17th regular meeting minutes to a committee to be redrafted. That has happened. Unfortunately, 2 of the members of the committee resigned from the board before that work could be done. I was the remaining member, so I did them. So if you find any problems, you know who to blame. So we should take these in order according to Robert's rules. starting with the oldest first, and so the first minutes that I have presented and have been distributed to the board are from the July 17th redrafted minutes of the regular board meeting. And I submit them for approval.
I would make a motion to approve them.
Can I get a copy of those?
They were distributed.
They were distributed by email.
Yep, they were.
Well, I don't have an email.
The minutes of the redrafted July 17th minutes.
Oh, I have the closed session we discussed, but it's,
Not that
okay,
one.
I will grab them.
July seventh,
July 17th.
17th and August 21st. And then we have the August 26th.
I do have a correction to the minutes from the way they were distributed.
Yes, I would ask if there are corrections to be made for that, which will give people a moment to look at them. They were in your email. But we can take a look at them now, and I would ask if there are any corrections. And then we will not be making a motion unless there are corrections and a discussion is needed. I will just say that they are approved.
Okay, so the correction to the July 17th minutes is under the roll call. I would like to add, also present was Library Director Jacqueline Pooler. I don't think anybody doubts that she was here. I just neglected to put it into the minutes, and it should be added.
Added because she's not a board member.
It's customary to include staff who are participating in the meeting as being present at the meeting. She's not listed as a board member. Other corrections?
Did everybody get a chance, did everybody receive those? Did you get a chance to receive them in the mail, John and Wendy?
Yes.
Yes. Did you have
No.
a chance to read them?
No, I did not receive them in the mail, but I was stalked by the library director at my church and where I live.
I'm sorry, but I had a very, very simple question. Did you receive the minutes, the adjusted minutes from there are 3 meetings that we're trying to get the minutes approved for. That would be July 17th, August 21st, and August 26th. Did you receive?
I just requested them a few minutes ago.
I know.
said I don't have those.
Okay, but were they sent to you?
I don't,
Well, I mean, or did you?
We can read the minutes out if you'd like.
Yeah, let's.
if I haven't received them, then I don't know if I received them.
Okay. I will say for the record that we communicated those to all board members in whatever method is needed. Our best effort to get the information to all board members, whether that's through email or through the mail or however, we're trying to be very transparent about all of this. So that's what happened.
And I'm just gonna fill my paper and I'll have the rest.
Yep.
I'll give people just a moment to look through those if that's all right with everyone. And just for everybody's information on the board, just a reminder that we passed something last time we discussed is the revision of the minutes because they weren't approved, and so these are the revised notes made by our interim library board secretary, David.
Question?
Yes.
You do know that as president, you cannot appoint anyone to any position, correct?
We did not have anybody to take notes the last time, and also David was on the committee. He was on the committee to revise. So
Well,
that you can look at.
According to what you
You can look
sent
at the
me,
minutes.
I wish I had it with me, it sounded like you had appointed him temporarily. And I'm just wondering if, by what authority did you do that?
Well, we had to have somebody take minutes from the last short meeting, because we didn't have anybody.
So he was appointed for the past, not for the, not.
No, he was on a committee to do this work. He was on a committee that was assigned by this board to redo the minutes.
In June.
I do remember that.
Okay.
The
Are
only-
there, yeah, go ahead.
There's, okay, go ahead.
Are there any corrections to the,
Further corrections.
further corrections? We've already had one correction made, and that is to include Jackie. Are there any further corrections to the July 17th minutes? Okay, those minutes are approved. The August 21st minutes. You have a copy of that as well?
I do. August 21st, you said?
August 21st, I believe. Yes.
Yes, these,
Are there any corrections to these minutes from anyone?
I don't have that one.
Oh, you need the August 27th?
21st.
Okay.
Jackie, I thought you told me you mailed them.
The August 21st meetings are included in the packet.
Ours
The
today?
August 26th is.
Only the
Oh,
August
I'm
20
sorry,
only the
then I
August
apologize,
26th
let me
is
get
here.
that.
Yes.
We'll take a moment and get a copy of that and take a look at that.
So at this point, I'm offering for approval the regular meeting of August 21st.
I'm going to take a moment and have people take a look at them. Just so there's no questions about any corrections.
And these minutes were drafted by me because I had been asked to do so as a member of the board, not as an officer, by Mr. Holte. And because the previous secretary had resigned and did not make her notes available.
Do we have a new treasurer?
We'll get to that. One thing while we're waiting for that, I'll comment on the agenda. Some of you may have noticed that we have a closed session. That isn't, not necessarily a normal thing, but just so at the end of this, as we adjourn, we will be going into a closed session. So, sorry, I'll have to ask everyone to leave.
I have.
Oh, yeah, you roll.
At this time, are there any corrections to these minutes from August 21st? Hearing none, those minutes are approved. We now have the last minutes to approve, and that is from the adjourned meeting of August 26th, which was a special adjourned meeting.
And those minutes have been distributed as well. This is the adjourned meeting to continue the session from August 21st. and the meeting is on August 26th, and that's how the draft is.
And you're sure those are distributed?
Excuse me. Yeah, are there any corrections? What, you have it also, Rick, we all have them right in front of us.
I do not.
I have one correction. I again omitted to add the library director's name to those who were in attendance. And so I would like to correct it by adding that the library director, Jackie Pooler, was also present.
Okay, are there any further corrections to the August 26th adjourned board meeting? Hearing none, those minutes are approved. Reports. So I have a few things from my report, and I would like to begin my report about clarifying guidelines for how we interact based on Robert's rules at our meeting. One, communicating with each other by raising your hands and being called on. I will call on people when they can speak. Second, we're going to stay on topic, so we need to ask everybody to really focus on staying on the topic. One person at a time will speak. Just don't have people speaking over each other. And I would like to keep things civil and to make sure that our discussion stays on a civil basis. Guest comments, I've already mentioned. We will be doing that at, oh, and for the record, Jan. Sorry. Made it from me, thank you, Jan.
Sorry I'm late.
Getting here. 20 minutes, 15 minutes, we'll start with 2 minutes each. And we will not be, signing in or anything like that. And we will also not be doing that on Zoom, having people sign in. Okay, Zoom.
Now, excuse me.
John.
Are you making these rules, or are these things we voted on?
This isn't rules. These are what I would like to expect as guidelines. If we want to bring it up as a whole agenda item, I will bring that up for next month. Would you like me to do that? Would you like to consider that? These are Robert's rules, so I don't think there's anything to even vote on. These are basic things of raising hands and being called upon. So I would like to end that conversation now. That's Robert's rules.
You said not to speak over anybody, but you just did. Are you saying then that these things are all in Robert's rules and you're just repeating what is already there? Or are you saying that, no, this is the way you want your meeting to run?
I am saying that we are going to be enforcing and implementing those things from Robert's rules. So we're going to move on now. Zoom. So in Zoom, Zoom is an opportunity, just like it is for people in the audience here, to be able to participate in a public meeting. And that's what we've chosen to do as a library board here, is to have that. And the same is considered with Zoom online. People are not going to check in or identify themselves. And I also believe that, and we can discuss this, and if we would like to vote on this, which I believe we've done in the past, I would like to make sure that we have both audio and video. I think it's very clear that everyone in our audience can see us and everyone on Zoom can see us. And I do not consider, we'll have time for discussion in a moment. I do not consider people observing on Zoom any differently than people in this audience as a public entity. I did some testing of my own at the last meeting to see, I heard somebody say there was a concern about could the camera see our documents and so on. Not true. It doesn't work that way. So I tested it, retested it. So that's what I would like to assure, that everybody that wants to come in on Zoom can hear us and see us and be able to interact just like anybody in this audience. I'd like to have some discussion about that. John?
I don't think I quite understand. We already voted not to have the camera. So are you saying each month you get to decide, well, we're gonna vote again because I didn't like the vote last time?
I'm calling for a motion.
No, no, can you answer my
redo it.
question?
Yes, I'm opening up as a topic to reconsider
So
that issue.
is that part of your new rules then, that if we vote on something one month, you get to bring it up the next month to see if it can go the other way? Well, then why don't we just go with what we've already voted on, that we don't have the camera?
All right, so what I will do is I will add it on as an agenda item for next month as a topic of Zoom, yes.
But,
Go
well,
ahead.
could I make a motion?
I'm not,
This is the president's
on the-
report.
Oh, this is president, sorry, I thought you were
Yeah.
verification of Zoom participants, sorry.
No. That's when we should have done it.
Apologies.
No, that's okay. This, I will make a note of that. We will be discussing that as an agenda item for next month, to reconsider Zoom. This,
Again, I have to ask,
John,
after a vote is done, you get to decide if it's gonna be reconsidered on a later month, even though we've already voted on it?
yes, because I decide the agenda, I can add it as agenda item. I didn't decide whether we were going to do that. I made a comment in my president's report that is my philosophy. So if the board is not happy with that, we will bring it up as an agenda item officially to have a discussion about Zoom and video and audio and all of that.
But
That's
it-
what I will consider putting that on the agenda for next
But
month.
it's already been voted on.
Correct, please, I've said the same thing several times now. So what we're going to do, it's got voted on, and we're going to I don't know if we're gonna re-vote it, we're going to have a discussion, and if there's a motion next month to change the Zoom policy, then, not the policy, but just our practice. Wendy?
I'd just like to respectfully comment that, as a board, we're here to make changes if we feel that we need to make changes that go according to statute or are for the good of our patrons and the library. You know, anything that was done before, it might have been right at the time. And I'm not saying either way on this specific topic, I'm just saying, just because it was voted on one time doesn't mean we'll never look at it again. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments before we move on? Size of the board. So our bylaws for the library is that we have a 7-person board, library board. We now have a 5-person library board. So what is happening right now is that we have gathered names for people who may want to be considered for positions on this library board. Those are people that are both in Iron River, and we also have potentially one opening for a person outside of Iron River. So we have people that are interested in that. But what I would like to also say is that if you have an interest in being on the library board, that you would send a letter to Jackie in the next week, because what is happening is that the town board they did not bring it up at this past meeting, but they will probably be, I don't know what they're going to do exactly, but they may be considering that at the next board meeting. So our bylaws say 7, so if we were going to remain a 5-person library board, we would have to change our bylaws. But what I would like to do is to just discuss with the town board to see what is going to be happening over the next week. So in about a week, we'll take, my goal would be to take the names that we have for people who are interested, and I've had conversations with all of those people so far that are interested in it so far, and the board has had communication about those people as well. It's been these names and letters have been sent out to the board for their feedback and so on. But we have about another week, so if there are other people that are interested in the community or outside of in our library area, that would be excellent. And then I will, by the end of next week, I will talk to the town board chair about this, but the goal would be that I would submit names for the library board. How they're going to appoint and who they're going to appoint or how many, that's for them to decide, not for us to decide. So we'll be talking to them about it, and so basically at the next board meeting in October, we'll know more between the town board and our board.
So, once again,
David?
when would you like the letters and where should they be sent?
One week from today, which is Wednesday, by next Thursday, it would be nice to, if you have a letter of intent or a letter that you wanted to say something about why you would want to be on the board, or if you know somebody, the letters can be going to Jackie either by mail or email. Is that all right
Either
with
one,
you?
yeah.
Either one for you. And then on Friday, I'll take some time and send them out to the board and probably give everybody a couple of days to look if we have more letters, and then and feedback, and then we'll be submitting some names to the town board with plenty of time for the town board to think about this before their next meeting about a month from now. The compliance issues, we're going to be talking about that in a couple of minutes. So we are addressing the compliance issues we have with DPI about several. We're going to be dealing with one of them tonight, but all of them we hope to address and get clarification and confirmation that we've dealt with those things so that we can communicate back to Northern Waters and thus DPI about our compliance issues. So those, hopefully, depending on what we do tonight, will be cleared up. In November, we have an our annual meeting. At that time, we'll have elections for officers. We already have an elections committee that will be looking at that. We also will be doing the library director review, and so I'll just comment about that and really what's happening with that. So in section TE6-5 of our handbook, we have the review of the library director, and that's what we'll be using for the review of Jackie. Jackie has that. Did you make any copies of that?
Not yet, but I
Not
can.
yet. So she can send out if you're interested in looking at, or you can just look in your manual on TE6-5 on the form that is used. So Jackie in the October meeting will submit to us the things that she is filling out for that about her role as library director. So we'll receive her view of her work in October. In November then, so we'll all have a month to take a look at that, and in our November meeting, we'll have a closed session. As part of the annual meeting, we'll have a closed session, and we will be able to discuss the things that have been submitted. We can discuss it amongst our board in the closed session, and then at the end of the closed session, we'll have Jackie come in, and then we'll be giving her a review of what we thought and what our recommendations are, etc. If you have from the board any ideas that if you look at that section TE6-5 and there's something in there in her review that you would like to add, it's about a 3-page form with lots of questions about what she's been doing and how she's been doing it and so on. If you have anything to add, it would be very nice for me to hear about that. If you could send me a message or something to say, could you add a section about that, and then we can add that to this form so that we're all happy about what we're reviewing, along with what is already on this form. Any comments about that?
What is gonna happen at the October meeting next?
In the October meeting, she will submit to us the forms that this form, her review and what the part she fills out of her self-evaluation, self-ratings, and then we will have 1 month to review it, and then we will have a closed meeting at the end to
So that'll be an
discuss
agenda
it.
item for discussion, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Right. Any other comments about that? Questions? Okay. Friends of the Library report. You're on.
All right. As you probably all are aware, we have our fall book sale coming up this Saturday. We have 26 vendors and lots of books, of course. and DVDs and CDs that have been generously donated. But we always need volunteers to help us move things out of the basement into a trailer that we take the boxes over to the community center and set them up. And we'd love some volunteers starting here at 3 on Friday to carry the books out of the basement and then get them over to the community center. And again, 2 o'clock as we wrap things up because the sale goes from 9 to 2. At 2 o'clock, get some more strongbacks and willing bodies to help rebox whatever our leftovers are and get them back to our basement. So, but again, I really appreciate all the generous people who have donated and our volunteers who have been helping out over the years. But we're beginning to age out. We need some more strong volunteers and young people. So hope to see you there.
Thank you. The secretary's report.
The only thing I had were the minutes, and we've taken care of that, so my secretary's report is very brief. Next.
Thank you. The treasurer's report.
We're working on the 3.5 hours.
Yes, that's a lot of things. The treasurer's report, that's me. You see my report of the fact that we have $22,901 as our ending balance this past month. This is our September report, and we have expended $789 this past month. A lot of material collections, a lot of books. But just as treasurer, I would just summarize a lot of those, including some really neat kits and things that I didn't really know we had, that are not just books, but mostly that's for the collection. Jackie, what would you like to add?
If there's any questions about what is on there or what materials they are, be glad to provide that information. Otherwise, I did include also a list of books that I have purchased that should be next in line after your financial reports. The titles and the authors. If anyone is wanting more information, let me know.
Any other questions about the treasurer's report?
Does that need to be approved?
I don't think so,
Okay.
but let's do that anyway. Can I have, is there a motion to approve the treasurer's report?
I'll make a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
Thank you. A second?
Second.
And we can discuss this now?
Now we can discuss. As there questions, discussion?
You cannot be president and treasurer.
Well, I really have a choice until the next agenda. That's why I was trying to move some agenda items so we can have the elections. We're going to be doing that in about 5 minutes.
I don't see where that's on the agenda.
It is.
Under new business.
So thank you for your concern. We have a second. Any other discussion about approving the treasurer's report? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Should ask for the no's.
No? Opposed?
Can change next month, so who cares?
Is it a nay or a yay? Or an abstention? Abstain, thank you. One abstention. Okay. Library director.
We're gonna be starting story time on the next Thursday, the 26th. And it's gonna be at 9:30, so that the majority of the event will be done by the time the library opens at 10. That is designed for 3 to 5 year olds, but older and younger siblings are welcome to attend as well. We are gonna have a couple programs for the month of October. One is going to be a fall into reading program where for every bingo a person completes on their bingo sheet, they get their name put in the hat for one of 3 baskets that they could win. That'll be just going from October 1st through the 31st. And then to go along with the spooky feel of the month, we are gonna be having, a storytelling presentation by Tracy Chipman, a professional storyteller, on the 26th at 1:30. She is going to be having the discussion of Ichabod Crane and his headless horseman, along with some other spooky tales along the way. We're also gonna be having a bat program to go along with the theme. This will be a more educational program about the bats themselves, how they are in the community, what they eat, what they do, and hopefully how humans can assist them to help them take some of the uninformed individuals in the community and help them understand what bats are and what they do and the benefits of bats. We are going to be having 2 book clubs again for the month of October. October 21st is the evening one at 6:30. We're going to be discussing Fever 1793 by Laurie Anderson. The location is to be announced yet. The October 26th one, which is the afternoon one, will be at 1 o'clock here at the library, and we're going to be discussing Last Bus to Wisdom.
Last Bus to what?
Last Bus to Wisdom
Oh,
by, I say Ivan, some people, Von Doig, D-O-I-G. So those are what's coming up. And I have put out information to the middle school teacher that we normally have a discussion with, and I haven't heard back yet on that, but I'm hoping to be able to move that forward to coming up in the next few months. So that's what we have going on.
Yeah, great. Question, John? Or comment?
Last time you said something about the voter registration.
Oh, yes, we had, she
Already did it.
She did, but she was on the sidewalk, which is considered public property, and I can't stop them from being on the public sidewalk.
Understood.
Did an effective job, because I was here times and she did a good job of reminding me to vote, and many, it was great. And there was no politics involved or anything.
Yeah, it was very
excellent.
much
Really
nonpartisan.
very professionally done. Okay, great. Let's move on to old business. We've had an item before about our 10,000.
Oh, excuse me,
Yeah,
I
go
forgot.
ahead.
Under approval of the bills.
Oh.
Can we have those, go back and do that or should we just continue it after the approval of the bills for payment?
Is that under the treasurer's?
That was
report?
under the treasury
Yeah,
report.
I meant to put it under there, so I apologize.
Yeah, do you want to talk about that? Because
Yeah.
we've already approved the
Yes,
financial report.
okay, so, but, I mean, this would just be in addition to that, so.
Okay, why don't you just do the
Okay,
addition to it
so-
now?
sorry about that, I
That's
forgot
okay.
that. We have a bill to Northern Waters for $541. That is for antivirus software, and a bulk order of supplies that we combine with another library system. That's for $541.55. Innovative, we get office supplies from them, that is $145.62. Baker and Taylor, that is for books, that is $361.69. Thorndike Press is where we get our large print books from, and that's for $130.89. And finally, Midwest Tape is $263.83.
Any comments? Great. Since we approved that, I'm okay with that unless somebody would like to have a.
I'd like to make a motion
To
to
approve.
approve it, including the bills to be paid.
I'll second.
We have a second.
And now we can discuss.
Discuss?
I thought we pay Northern Waters like $12,000 a year. Why do we have to keep paying them for what more do we have to keep paying them for? Isn't that all part of the one deal?
The payment for this is for software that we have on our public access computers to prevent viruses. And when they decided to go with a different company than the original, this was the month that the contract started. So it has been an ongoing contractual payment in September for several years.
So the $12,000 is not enough. They keep billing us throughout the year then for other things.
Just for supplies and for contracts that are not due until later in the month or later in the year.
Okay, any other discussion? We have a motion to approve the financial discussion, including the bills to the board. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No,
No. Okay. So old business, we've had an item that has been talked about having some of the money that has come in, and we basically have stated that we're going to have a meeting with the town board chair and probably the treasurer of the town to just discuss our finances. And we are working on that. We have not arranged a time where we can all meet yet, but we'll be doing that soon. So hopefully we can get that cleared up by the next meeting between whoever would be treasurer and myself and Jackie will be meeting. And these are things that we've discussed before, but we'll be having that meeting shortly. One of the things that we need to do is to act on the material selection policy compliance issue. And so you've had the material selection policy sent to, everybody has that sent to them. Those of us that have been here for a while have talked about this many times. But we have one compliance issue and that we're gonna deal with tonight, not the whole material selection policy, but just the one issue regarded. And David, do you want to just read through that? I can also look that up.
The material selection policy is, we, I think, have adopted. It's still not clear. But what the policy says in two different places, on page 4 of my copy, there's a paragraph in the center of the page with bold reconsideration of library materials. It has to do with the form that the public can submit when they take issue with a certain book. It's a form they have to fill out and give to the library, and there's a process for evaluating that challenge and evaluating the book. The paragraph following that says, the identity of the individual will be kept confidential within the library staff and the Board of Trustees unless required by court order. However, anonymous forms will not be accepted. And then there's a reference to Wisconsin Public Records Law and Compliance Guide, 2019 edition, and to the trustee handbook for the board members, and Wisconsin statute, and a Wisconsin statute. This is the one that we've been informed by the DPI and through the Northern Waters from DPI that is not legal. The open records law calls for that to be available if it's requested by a member of the public. That same language occurs at the very end of the challenge form. The library shall make every effort to keep the patron's identity confidential unless required by court order pursuant to the following, and it's both the same statute. So that is what we are considering. We've been informed that if it stays as it is, we will not be in compliance. We will not be able to be a member of the public library system in Wisconsin. So I'll make a motion that those paragraphs that I just read, starting with the identity of the individual will be kept confidential, both under reconsideration and at the end of the reconsideration form, be struck. That's my motion.
We have a second. Is there discussion? Hearing no discussion. So we have a motion that will strike the first sentence.
No, it's a paragraph.
Sorry, excuse me, that the whole first paragraph, the identity, starting with the identity of the individual, and that entire paragraph. And then in the last part of the form, that section that says the library shall make every effort to keep the patron's identity confidential unless required by court order pursuant, et cetera, the laws. So that is the motion to strike those. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
One no. I have aye. Okay, and so one of the things that will happen with that is that we will refer the minutes of this board meeting to Northern Waters and the DPI so that we will be in compliance with DPI.
So how will that be communicated to DPI and Northern Waters?
Jackie and I will communicate that to Sherry at Northern Waters. We'll do it via email, but if there's something else that they need, then they will let us know that, and then we will do it that way.
And somebody needs to publish a new copy of the material selection policies.
Yes.
Without this, that's just
We
been
do.
struck. And.
I can take
to our
that off and
policies.
just put it back on, take that part off the policy and put that back on to our website.
On the website. And are you clear about exactly what's being removed?
Just those
Otherwise
two
we can-
paragraphs on the
Otherwise,
last
give her
page.
that, cause I
Yeah.
don't need it.
Thank you.
Right there. Thank you. The next item, discuss and appoint the bylaws committee to review any changes. So we've been talking about this for quite a while as well, about dealing with our bylaws. And it seems fairly obvious that our bylaws are, they're quite long. And it does not seem like a great thing to be doing at a whole board meeting to discuss every bit of bylaw. So I would like to have a committee. I don't know about having a committee. We may hold this off until next month because we have 5 people on our board, and if we appoint a 3-person committee, then that is a quorum, and so that we can't do that. So we can't really have a 3-person committee. So we either have to have a 2-person committee that would work on the bylaws basically the goal would be to look at our bylaws and come up with the suggested wording changes that are needed and so on, and come back to the board, and so that we can all review, and of course have discussion about anything that committee might bring forward. So can I just ask for your thoughts about that, whether we should just hold off until see if we're going to go to a 7-person board, then we can have 3 people, or would you just prefer to do a 2-person committee?
I just have a question.
Yes.
Because it's been a number of years since I've been on the library board, but I'm wondering what the issue is with the bylaws in the first place, that we need a committee to look into it.
There are a number
Are
of
there-
changes.
I haven't been-
A lot of them are just minor language changes and context, not something that there's no policy involved, and so we wouldn't want to, and there are several of those that would take a lot of time at a board meeting.
Okay, got it.
And I think there's been a discussion by everyone on the board in the past about wanting to update them, to look at other bylaws of other libraries, to see if there are some things, because I agree, I think there are probably some gaps on that maybe we aren't covering. As we do, for example, just the idea of a 7-person board, we might have to be changing that. So somebody might want to be doing, just really clarify the research about, can we even be a 5-person board, which I believe we can, after asking Northern Waters and talking to DPI. This library could, in Iron River, could have a 5-person, but that's a little unclear. So research basically about excellence, really update to have excellent bylaws for our library.
Thank you.
So what are anybody else have thoughts about?
I would suggest that board members should look at their copies of the bylaws. You must have a copy, because I have like 6.
I have,
I have 2, I just got on.
and she just got it.
So, order not to add more to the president's burden than to Jackie's burden, please look them over, and and send me as a secretary, and Jackie's got my email address, thoughts that you have, regarding the bylaws, and I will try to, add them, up and list them and, put them into categories to try to simplify things. I have an idea that there will be a number of them. And I think that we should put it on the agenda for next month's meeting. And I will review the suggestions and comments that I've gotten. And if there are a lot of them, then maybe at that time, if it's too much to discuss at a board meeting, if there are 15 or 20 different minor language changes.
Too much for a meeting.
Or major changes, it's too much for a full board meeting, then we could talk about appointing a committee. But if they're fairly straightforward, we can decide at that meeting to just discuss them and make changes if we need to. There are some notification requirements to change the bylaws.
Yes.
And they're different than just regular resolutions.
It's not 24 hours.
Right, so we'll have to take that into account. The whole process is already drawn out, and it's gonna be drawn out more, I'm afraid, but it's important that we do it and get it right.
Okay, so what, you tell me if I heard you correctly, you're saying that Jackie and I are the research of this, and we'll do the research in the bylaws. That's fine, and we can, and I think we can look at it, so if that's all right with you, and then we don't have to have a committee, we can look at them, and we can do some looking at what's missing, and talk to a variety of people, like, and I think it'd be really good to get some feedback from some other places or some other people to say, what do you think we're missing in our bylaws, just to make sure we're all caught up. So we can do that.
And I suggested that board members send their ideas.
Right. Please do.
And ideas for what needs changing, and specifically how you would like to change it or what you would like to change it to, if you have that, and then I can correlate those and compile them.
Yeah, and I would say yes. Well, that's really good. So if you could, we could do that in the next couple of weeks, because we do need to have notification. We're going to change them and collect them and so on. John,
Why would Jackie be on that committee? Isn't that a board
it's not a
function?
committee. It's just we're going to review the bylaws. And Jackie could be on the committee anyway, so she can be on the committee. And it's not a committee.
It's not a
We're
committee.
I'm not appointing a committee.
What
We're
I
just
was-
doing some research and we're getting feedback from the board. You as board members are going to give any feedback that you have. Wendy has already done her homework on this. And I need to do a lot more myself. And then you give us feedback. We'll just kind of look through it, and then give David some of the potential wording, and then we'll bring that back to the next meeting for potential approval of the bylaws. And if we're not happy, if there's many issues next time, then we will move it to the next month.
So is it in Robert's rules that somebody who isn't on the board can be involved in these discussions that the board will take under advisement?
I don't know.
That's not what I suggested. I suggested that everybody on the board should review the bylaws and send their ideas for changes, if they feel there are any, to me as the secretary, and I will compile them and bring them to the next meeting.
So what's her job?
She's going to help gather information. If somebody doesn't have my email address, they can send it to her, and it's her responsibility then to get it to me.
She's the library director. She works with the bylaws. She can do research just like anybody can. And so the board's not a committee. It is giving feedback from the board. All right. Any other comments?
So for instance, just as an example, maybe Jackie might want to go and ask Daryl Pendergrass for the Washburn Library's bylaws, or the Bayfield Library for their bylaws, so we can compare, see what they're saying, we can see if there's any areas of improvement, or,
Excellent. So, thank you. Any other comments about that? We don't need to.
Please get them to me at least 2 weeks before the next meeting.
Okay. The next item of old business is to discuss the idea of meeting with Northern Waters. So historically, we have said a variety of different things. We're going to have a meeting, there are questions that have come from the board about what is Northern Waters, why do we have them, why do we use them? And I have questions, questions as well, but I also think a lot of things have been cleared up for me. So my question is to discuss with this board tonight, just to take a couple minutes and decide what we want to do. There are several different options. One, we have already approved that we would have a meeting on the last meeting. They would get questions submitted and they would have a Zoom meeting with us with Sherry, the Northern Waters representative, and somebody from the Department of Public Instruction would meet with us on Zoom and answer those questions. So that's one possibility we could continue on. Another possibility that has come out in an earlier meeting version is a few representatives from this library board go and talk to Northern Waters with the questions that we would all contribute to Northern Waters. A third option is we don't have to have a meeting with Northern Waters unless there is a need. If we have these questions, we could, if we don't have any big questions, we could not meet with them. A fourth option is to just collect our questions that we have over the next couple of weeks, or if we need to by the next board meeting, and we email those questions to Northern Waters and they talk to whoever at DPI, answer our questions and give them back to us in writing. So there are four different ways to look at this. And maybe you have a fifth or sixth way, but that's the basic idea. So I'd like to open up that for discussion. Where would you all like to go? Not have a meeting because maybe there's no need any longer, or there is a need and we do it in writing, or we do the Zoom meeting as they were going to have they wanted all of the questions ahead of time, and then they would talk amongst DPI and Northern Waters, and then they would do a Zoom call with us. Or we send some representatives to just go talk to them. And I don't know how that it's gonna really work if we send representatives, because then they are connected to DPI. They do the work for DPI to help us to implement the library and to do things properly and so on. And I think we've talked about this a lot. So I don't know how that would, if we went to talk to Sherry at Northern Waters, somehow the DPI people would be involved, maybe digitally or something. So what are your thoughts? Yes, Wendy.
I would just like to say I have researched some into what Northern Waters does for us prior to being on the board and since being on the board, and I would find it very difficult to come up with questions for Northern Waters. I feel like I've looked on their website, I've read a lot about what they do, and I really feel like we are getting a very good deal from Northern Waters. I'm not against any of those ideas that you mentioned, but for me, I don't really feel that I need to be part of a meeting with them. I think they fully support us and help us do what we need to do.
Thank you. Yes, Jen.
Yeah, so I also done some research on this, and over the years as well, from being a board member previously, just so that everybody, maybe people already know this, but just so we have maybe a better informational understanding. Northern Waters, the history and purpose of it is that it's a joint agency between Ashland, Bayfield, Washburn, Sawyer, I don't know how you say it, Vilas, Burnett, Douglas, and Iron counties. So it's a larger regional state organization. It was established under Chapter 43 in Wisconsin statute. It receives state funding. It's been around in one form or another since 1959. I remember the bookmobiles when they first started, that was Northern Waters. That's how it started. In 2000, Northern Waters Library Service technology was implemented to enable all existing Northern Wisconsin libraries to connect via a supported technology system, which makes it possible for these libraries to exist, because we're such a large county in Bayfield and it's so rural, the monies that we get, the value that we get from Northern Waters allows all of our libraries to coexist in interlibrary loan. Without Northern Waters, we don't have that. Northern Waters services include monthly circulation reports, consulting services for help with planning, policies, budgeting, grant writing, bookkeeping, collection development, children's services, helping with hiring of staff, website support, cataloging of materials, continuing education, delivery service of requested materials, interlibrary loan being one of those. It's important, again, due to the very large size and this the small size of our libraries compared to the very large and rural size of our county, right? It enables access to requested titles not on hand because there simply isn't room, and other resources as well. The technological support is hugely important, connecting all of our libraries to each other, and it's basically the reason libraries can exist and meet the needs of the people of Bayfield County. So it's a tremendous value for the tax dollars that are spent on it.
Other comments?
I would just like to echo those comments that were just made. I have a pretty good understanding of what Northern Waters Library Service does. My wife recently reminded me that she was on the board of the Northern Waters Library Services for 10 or 11 years. So she's very familiar, and she's very happy to answer my questions about the service and what they do. So I feel like I'm pretty well informed also. So I don't really see a need for a meeting.
I feel the same way. I don't really need a meeting.
We should probably make a motion.
Well, any other comments before we do that?
I'll just bring up the one I brought up to the town board several months ago. If they do all of this for us, my goodness gracious, good for them. We don't need a library director. She should work for them. Save our town the cost of having her on our payroll, since she does what they tell her to do anyway. And going even further, then there's really no need to have this board, because once again, all we do is simply do whatever Northern Waters tells us. There's no reason to ask them questions, because they are in their ivory tower, and how dare we even suspect that they could have any ill will towards the public, like pornographic books for kids.
Okay, so
You know?
let's stay focused on the topic.
Well, sure, Northern Waters, if I understand correctly, and I was here a year and a half ago when all this broke, Northern Waters said that these books were going to be here. And they got ordered and they're here.
Okay, I'm gonna make a point of order there. I think I believe we're going a bit off the topic. Is there anything else you'd like to say about the need for a meeting? I think the need for a meeting with them, or what kind of meeting
I
would you like to
absolutely
have?
positively think there ought to be a meeting, in the same way that there are Senate hearings, and we're going to get witnesses that are going to answer the same as Fauci answers questions.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion?
I would make a motion, unless someone else wants to, I'll make a motion that we do not have a meeting with Northern Waters Library Service, and that if we have future questions that we'd like to address to them, we can ask them and they will send us responses.
I'll second that motion.
Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor of the motion to not have a meeting with Northern Waters, and if we have further questions, we can address them in writing and expect a response from them. Is that fair way to say it?
Mhm.
Okay.
And the reason I add that is because I know that in the past I have sent questions and I've gotten a relatively prompt response to all my inquiries. So I would expect it would continue to be that way.
Same.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
no. Thank you. Okay,
But
new-
since, but I'm allowed
No,
to
no.
expl, no, I'm allowed to
Yep.
explain my vote. I'm
you can
allowed to explain
your
my vote.
John, you can explain your vote.
Why, thank you. I'm voting no, not because I'm just against you. I'm voting no because we would not get straight answers from Northern Waters. So any meeting would be time consuming and useless.
Okay, thank
I'd
you,
like that in the record, please.
thank you.
Is
New
there-
business,
Wait,
so, David,
if you want it in the record, you have to make a motion.
because that
I'm sorry,
doesn't go,
what was
that
that?
doesn't go in the minutes. What is said doesn't go in the minutes. What we did goes in the
Make a
minutes.
motion.
From this board, I'll just keep it in my own mind.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on to new business. So we don't have we have a temporary interim secretary. Thank you very much for doing that over the last bit of time here. But we need to hold elections for board vice president, secretary, and treasurer. Because as John has pointed out, I can't do both roles. So I would like to begin with the secretary position. Is there a nomination for library board secretary?
I would nominate David.
Okay,
I'm willing to serve.
okay, David's willing to serve. Any other comments about that? What I'd like to do is a motion for all three of them, but we could do it.
We should do them
each one.
separately, I think.
So, is there a motion?
This, just to be clear, this is for officers to last until our annual meeting. this
Until
upcoming
the,
November.
until the
Okay.
annual meeting, which is only 2 months from now.
Yeah.
Okay,
Until November.
until November.
This is
That's correct.
practice.
We'll be having elections in November as well for these, all of the positions. Is there a motion on the floor?
I would make a motion to elect David as the secretary of the board.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
We have a second from Jan. Discussion?
Campaign speech.
There are no speeches.
Okay, never mind.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of David as secretary of the library board, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I abstain.
One abstention. Thank you. Treasurer, do we have a nomination for library board treasurer?
In the spirit of reciprocity, I would. As interim treasurer.
Yes.
I wish I could look at you like you looked at me.
The banker lady.
She does work in a bank, so that's
I
way
would-
better than I could.
I would accept that nomination.
Somebody has to second it.
You okay? Is there a motion?
That mine was a motion.
Oh, yours is a motion. We
I'll
need a
second.
We have a second from Jan. Any discussion about approving Wendy as board treasurer for at least the next 2 months? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain.
One abstention. Thank you. Vice president, do we have a nomination for vice president of the library board?
I would like to make a motion to elect Jan as vice president.
Second.
We have a second from David. Are there discussions about the vice president position?
You plan on being at the next two meetings, right, Jeff? Is that how I can? Only just because we're in the middle of the big budget thing for the county and we got lots of stuff going on, so it'd be great, yeah.
Yes.
If you could, just, not have an emergency or something.
Any discussions about appointing Jan as vice president of the library board? All those in favor of Jan as vice president, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain.
One abstention, thank you. So just one other item is the November annual meeting. We have the nomination committee, which we had approved in the minutes, which was you, and who else was on the nomination committee? I gotta look for it. And Barb was on that committee. So is there someone who would need to replace Barb on the nomination committee for the annual elections? Would anybody like to volunteer for that?
Can we have discussion? Can I ask a question?
Yes, you can ask, yes, we can discuss it.
What does that entail?
It
Would you wanna
entails
talk about that,
basically-
because
it's-
you're doing
it's
it?
called a nominating committee, it's really a recruiting committee. It's to come up with a slate of officers recommended, and the slate can be, one person for each office, or it can be more than one person for each office. Pretty hard with our size board, but the committee's job is to come up with a slate to present at the annual, at the elections. And there are nominations from the floor as well.
That we can do at the meeting. One of the things we don't know is what will happen, for example, in October. So there
Right.
could be more board members in October. We're not sure what's going to happen exactly. So, well, if we don't have anybody that is interested in volunteering to be on that, I think
I'm
we'll,
still on the committee, I guess.
you will have to be the committee to carry on as a single committee member. Thank you for your volunteer work.
Volunteerism.
Your volunteerism. Okay. That is it.
Carry on.
Is there a motion to move out of this session?
I will make a motion to move out of this session into closed session.
Very good.
Have-
To discuss.
Can I- may I have a-
So there is a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
The second. Is there a discussion? Yes, John?
For what purpose?
So we'll have to do, well, all we say is that to discuss confidential personal or patron information, that's the law, that's the state law. That's what we're doing, that's all we can really talk about in
And
this
and
public
it is
meeting.
indicated in the agenda, the specifics.
And are minutes taken of this meeting?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
let's move into the closed section. Are there any